Again, just to reiterate our focus on sustain, what we have done is instituted a concept that we're calling associate partners. We've generated a lot of interest in the software industry as well as the data and publishing content providers industry, who are keen to see how semantics are working in this space. So we came up with the concept of associate partners, or organisations that we want to work with and share data with, or they want to work with us and do make their data available and support the idea. So we sign a simple MOU which just says we like you, you like us. We're going to have some discussions on science. And allows us to start to build that community of users around the central hub of the open pharmacological space. In some instances, we might want to go into a bit more of a closer relationship, not bringing them into the consortium necessarily, but have discussions around technical data interchange by APIs with certain software vendors, or making sure that our system squirts out data in a format that can be used in some of the standard industry, in some of the standard industry tools, or some of the standard publishers' tools. So, part of what we're trying to do in the open pharmacological space is not just around sucking lots of data in, it's making it available both through that easy-to-use kind of interface kind of way, but most importantly, making the data available at a computational level for people to do much more in-depth analysis with. So that's the way we're currently going. Our consortium is now growing towards 27 members as a sign of success. We have new FPA companies expressing an interest in joining. I just wanted to give a quick view of one of the things we're doing with eTox. We're also collaborating closely with DD Moore and EHR for CR, which are other knowledge management calls. And it's how can we use our open facts platform to extract relevant data to build tox models for things that aren't coming through that report mining process that Gerhard went through earlier. So we're building data crawler to extract the data and shuffle it into eTox to build that. So I think you can start to think about sustainability from several perspectives, particularly in these data-intensive projects. If we can start to explore some of these connectivities as the projects are running, gives us a much clearer direct impact and direct tractability in the future. So I've spoken a lot about what we can do in the consortium at the moment. We're doing a piece of work around licensing for anyone who's been involved in building infrastructure and computational science before. We have two different perspectives on this. The first is how do we gather data from the public domain cleanly without infringing anyone's licensing terms, but particularly how do we make our data then available to other people without infringing their licensing terms. So we're keen to make this as open as we physically can. But it's unfortunate that some of the public data sources didn't set their licenses up that way necessarily, so we've got some work to do around that. We're in the process of completing a competitive call for a professional hosting partner. This will make sure that we have a system that's fully supported on big computational boxes, 24/7 support, the professional level of service for when the infrastructure is live in the public domain. At the moment, this is still a research and development system, so it sits in various boxes in the academic world which may not be able to support at that volume. Towards the end of this year, we'll be launching a public demonstrator. It will be a fairly simple interface, but certainly show the potential of what's there. So anyone in this room, anyone anywhere will be able to see what we've been doing, use the interface and see what data's in there. And then following that, we go on to our second wave pilots, some of the more in-depth analysis methods. Please take a look at openfacts.org. We're starting to use that website much more to keep you posted on news. You can sign up for Twitter feeds and all sorts of other things, and a thank you to all our partners. That was all I was going to say.
Thank you very much, Bryn. This presentation is open for discussion, questions. Yes, Anne?
Bryn, could you comment on the example you have on the time gain by using these tools as compared to doing things manually?
Yeah, so I think there's several there's several different layers to that question. The first is, there is some time saving for even experts if you don't have an integrated system compared to someone going around all the databases, querying it at least separately and then building that back. So obviously having all that in one place where you can type in one box and bring back a page of lots of data saves experts time. But for the naive user, or most people who might wear a lab coat for a living, they don't even know a lot of these sources exist, so they kind of don't know, they haven't found these data. So we do have some of the partners within the consortium going back through this, the old-fashioned pen and paper way, looking things through the literature. And some of our queries you can get back quite quickly, probably 2 or 3 days' work for someone doing it the old-fashioned way, if you like.
Any other question or comment about Open Facts? You already see there that there are indeed important links between different projects in IMI, and I can tell you there also that FPI is really looking in the possibility to cluster projects dealing with similar approaches together. No other questions? Yes, Simon?
I don't know whether this is a delicate question, but again, at the end, there will be a tremendous set of valuable data accessible for everybody, I guess, in Europe, because this is part of the IMI goals, is to accelerate, to give Europe some competitiveness in terms of health, including non-European companies investing in Europe. But just take an example with our friends of China. Do you think they could have access to those large databases, or is there some policy to make sure that this very interesting data will be limited to, to a zone like Europe or not?
I think that's an interesting question. So in our instance, open means open. You can, if you've got a web connection on the moon, you can access it. We do have, we're actually having some quite interesting discussions with the Beijing Genome Institute. And actually, this is an important point, because the knowledge management, data management world is actually really quite a small one. We're quite closely connected to Sage Bionetworks, a lot of the things that are going on in the US. And from the global perspective, we have to be very careful not to have a VHS and Betamax argument again, because that's really going to hamper how we use these data in a sensible way. So I think I would be interested to see how you think you could limit it, because if the database exists, it will be accessible.
Okay, thank you very much, Bryn.